Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. This is your host Ikramul Haq. In this video, we will be starting our actual development of our portfolio plugin. So let's jump into it. Okay, so I have my website listed here and I am into the plugins page in the admin panel of my website. So if you see, we are only having default plugins activated, which comes with the installation of WordPress. And in my code editor, if you see, I have already opened my code editor, the project's actual files. So let me make sure I am just having a bit of zoomed in so you can clearly see the screen. So now we have to start our plugin development. First of all, we have to go into the plugins folder under wp-content. Here we will be creating our folder of the plugin. So in our case, the name of the plugin is WP Creator Portfolio. So we will be making our folder. And then with the same name, we will be creating our PHP file. Okay. So this is something which I will be explaining in detail. It is actually called plugin header. So, or you can say it is something based on the header file. WordPress recognizes the plugins. So, plugin name. This is the name of the plugin which we will be seeing in our backend. Backend from I mean in the actual plugin page, like here. Like if you see, this is the name of a plugin. This is the name of a plugin. So the name which we are using will be the name of our plugin. So we can say it whatever we want to say. Next thing is plugin URI. Actually, this is the URL of your plugin. If you are building plugins for your clients or anyone, you can use actual URL of your site or portfolio. Now, next comes the description. Description is something which comes under the plugins page or on the WordPress plugins page, the main description of the plugin, like what this plugin actually does. Okay, so moreover, we have to use some sort of a proper tabs here so we can always see things properly. Okay, so in our case, we can name it based on our functionality of the plugin. So in our case, it is fully dynamic portfolio gallery with categories and lightbox. Okay, I will be coming to it in a detail once our plugin header file is done, so we can see it into the WordPress. Okay, next comes the version. The version is actually the version of our plugin in WordPress or even in software developments. Usually, production ready versions start from 1.1, 1.0.0. So beta versions can go from 0, but until those are in testing. But in production, every software starts from version 1. So once anything is being added, so it can go accordingly. Like with first update, it can go to 1.0.1, 1.0.2, 1.0.3, and so on. So it totally depends on the author or company. So which way they want to proceed. Okay. So next come the author. From author, actually the author of the plugin. In this case, I'll be using my own name. So as I am the author of the plugin, and also author URI. Okay, so what is the URL of the author? So in our case, we will be using same for the WP thread. Okay, so next comes the license. If you see plugins under the WordPress repo, you will see those plugins come under GPL license 2, which means GPL, general public license version 2. Okay, so based on the license, if your plugin is premium, it will be having its license accordingly. Okay, next comes text domain. It is very, I would say, useful thing to know that text domain is something in which will be using in multi-language environments. Okay, so it is same most of the cases, or I would say it is standard to have the same as the name of our plugin, or the slug I would say, or you can say the folder name of our plugin. Okay, so that will be using for the translations purposes. Okay, next comes the domain path is actually the path of the translations where translations will be living. Most of the cases this is standard languages folder. Okay, right. So now we have to save it because it is our plugin main file, so we will be saving it like a .php file under the root of our main header file. If you see naming convention, it is same name as our folder and it will become and serve our main file of the plugin. So now if after doing just this tiny thing, I have to refresh my website. Okay, so so we are here. If you see all those details which we already provided in our file, you can see here the name of the plugin. If you see the author URI, if you see in the bottom left corner, like here where my cursor is, you will be seeing the permalink. It is going to the wpthrill.com, and if you see plugin URI is also going to the wpthrill.com. So if you are author and your permalink or URL is different, you can use that. Okay, so here is our version 1.0.0, which is coming from our this version line. Okay, so now if you see description, so you can see description. If I have to make any of changes, so I'll be doing it like this one, and it is for tutorial. Okay, so I have to just save it, and if I have to refresh it again, our plugin file should be updated. Okay, so you can see WP Creative Portfolio Pro is no more, and it is for tutorial. So by now we have successfully created our very first plugin. If you see in the front end side of the website, you will see nothing is going on here. The reason, because it is obvious we have nothing to do at all yet. Okay, so we did nothing, that's why we are expecting to do it nothing. Now our plugin header is done. I will be providing you link of the plugin header, so you can check it on official WordPress docs, like how to do it, what each parameter does. But the main required parameters I have already used all of those. So for your learning purposes, you can check all the parameters, what's required, what we needed to have a minimum plugin version. Okay, if I zoom out a bit so you can see more clearly. Okay, this is our plugin header. I will also be linking the post URL where we are providing full guide in a written way, so you can always check back to there to see what each of above line does and what is the full code of the plugin. So we will be covering all those things side by side. So now it's time to see our actual development. Okay, so we have to check our plugin by activating it. So from here, if we click on the activate button, we can see, okay, our plugin is activated and you can see it here. Now, any changes we made in our plugin code files will be showing up, because the reason is now our code is not only living but also working. Okay, so if I just deactivate it, it will be deactivated. Okay, because if you see, so far we didn't get any of the issues during activation or deactivation, but once we will be doing those things in future, we will be seeing how plugin conflicts are there, and we have how we will be managing those and things like that. But in this very simple guide, we have to just activate our plugin so we can proceed to the next stage. So our plugin is being activated again. Thank you. Okay, so now we have to jump into the actual development of our plugin. The first things first, we have to make sure we are writing our defined constant. The reason for that is, if anyone, I would say, like targeting our files directly into the browser, we have to make sure they can't access rest of the code. For that, we do use apps path not defined check. What it does, it actually makes sure that if anyone targeting path of the file, like if you see on the top here, like if you see this one, because once you know the development, you will see after the path of the website, if we enter wp-content slash plugin slash wp dash creative dash portfolio and the name of the file, if it is a php file or any file, uh, hackers can quickly add path of the file and can see what's going on. So if we have this security parameter check, whenever anyone adds that path, it will be doing nothing and just a blank page, because we are exiting it as apps path will not be set. Okay, so this way we can save a lot of headache in future development. It is your first learning, or I would say it is your very first security check to make sure each of your files or assets are serving where they are required, nothing else at all. Okay, so in this video so far, we have created our very first plugin, we have verified it, and we have activated it, and then we have deactivated it. Now, once we activate a plugin and deactivate a plugin, if we want to do certain things, like once we are activating a plugin, we have to check what that particular uh, plugin does, like if it is dependent on some other plugin. Like in future, once we will be developing elementor add-ons, so during activation we will be checking if this plugin is having actual elementor main plugin activated or not. If it's not, we will be showing a warning that elementor is required. In very same fashion, once we are developing WooCommerce add-ons, WooCommerce extensions, we have to be certain that once plugin is activated, if WooCommerce is available or not. Because once we are working based on the dependency, we have to be certain that our dependency is met before running any of our actual code. Okay, in that, for that, here come the activation and deactivation hooks into place. Okay, so those are actually, once activation hook actually does, once we run activate a plugin, that callback runs, and in that particular callback we can perform any of our actions. Like in our case, we can test if our plugin having some dependency on elementor or woocommerce or any particular plugin. We can check if that dependency is met or not, and based on the outcome we can show some particular admin notices or messages, or if we have to create certain MySQL tables, like once we will be creating our chat plugin in the future. So there we will be learning how to handle and tackle those activation and deactivation hooks. We will be coming to that one in our later videos. By now, I think it is enough for the day. Like we have created a plugin, we have created our first header plugin, and we have made our plugin secure. So once we hit it into the front end, it does nothing. In the next video, we will be checking how to actually create things which we are needing in our development, like how to create post types for the portfolios which we will be creating, and then how to create those taxonomies and settings and all those things. Until then, see you, have a nice time, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.